Morning world, it's 9:15 in the morning. It's the 18th of June 2013. Mercury retrograde is beginning to get closer and closer. The full moon's getting closer. The moon's lovely moon in Libra today. All day long it's applying in a very positive way to both Jupiter and the Sun. Today's a nice day. Tomorrow, when the moon moves into Scorpio and starts hitting Saturn, we'll deal with that one tomorrow morning. Right, that's the astrology. Let's do something different. As some of you know, I'm really into this idea of the length of humanity's stay on planet. And although humanity, as we know it, has been walking on 2 feet for 1,000,000 years, and although Homo sapiens, with its split lobe, has been evolved out of Neanderthal for over 50,000 years, modern history would have it that intelligence only began around about 2,000, 3,000 years ago. Whatever. I'm not going to argue with modern historians and modern scientists because they're obviously very intelligent people. I note that there's been recent discoveries in the south of England that talk about massive new, much older developments than Stonehenge of Avebury, particularly around the village of Damerham, where there's been, just within the last year or two, there's been some absolutely massive underground structures discovered, but have obviously, much have been ploughed in, but the imprint is there, and much of the original tombs are still there. And these date to about 4,500 BC. Let's get it right. 8, 9, 10,000 BC, the ice sheets were still covering us. All of Canada, much of America, much of Europe was covered in ice. It was ice everywhere. And it was only some type of shift that caused the ice to suddenly melt, that made the seas suddenly rise, that caused, for example, Britain to become an island from Europe. This only happened around 8 to 10,000 BC, around 10 to 12,000 years ago, maybe 12,500 years ago. At that time, there were very, very few humans in Britain. The ice came down to the level of London. Only south of London was there no ice, and there was tundra. But there was a little bit of plain just in the south central, in the county that's now known as Hampshire. And this is where the people that got caught up in Britain when the flood came, that's where they initially settled. And this, around the area of central Hampshire, all of Wiltshire and much of North Dorset, this is the area where the most ancient of archaeology in Britain comes from. And it is from here that people started sailing out around the British coast. That's how they discovered Bath and its hot water, of course, which is why they settled here and made this the first British settlement. But this is the start around about 8 to 10,000 years ago. And it is a pitifully short time. Work that in terms of human lives, and that's only 300 generations, which is a blink of an eye. So to those modern historians and scientists who tell me that science and history and humanity's intelligence only really started around 4, 6, 8,000 years ago, I think, well, no. What we're seeing here, is the traces of a much older culture, the remnants. 8,000 years ago, we're seeing the remnants of a much older culture that lived in tune with the planet, that knew how to resonate with the vibrations coming from the cosmos, that knew how to resonate with landscape, with sea, with river, with hill, and knew how to resonate with nature, had an empathy with all living beings, others of their own species and all others. Sounds like paradise. It was boring. There was no growth, there was only entropy. The fall, if you like, the cataclysm of a few thousand, 8, 10,000 years ago, it pushed us into becoming self-reliant and thus accelerated our intelligence, leading us to where we are now, on the point of making another massive leap forward in human evolution. There you go. Catch you tomorrow and we'll deal with Uranus, Pluto.